You're listening to the Third Watch Prophecy Update. I do not get a chance to do this often, so do not think that I would make this a common practice, but I did find these reports important enough to re-record it and take some added screenshots. I know a lot of people have asked this question. I too. We're students, we're not preachers, teachers, okay? But watching some of the news and looking at the accuracy of prophecy and the news, I just find a very interesting tipping point. It seems like they're all coming together. So I don't want to get into real heavy-duty warnings, but I think the days of warning are over. I think if you're following this by now, or you pay attention, or you keep it, you just have a working knowledge of it, it's good to know this. But all those things, all those warnings are not going to be that important if you do not apply the other stuff. Otherwise, it just sounds like more fear-mongering and attacking, and that's not what we're trying to do. We're just reporting how important the accuracy of this topic, and I want to be able to at least have a discussion. I don't want to be throwing out scary warnings, although there are times I definitely think there's a sense of urgency, and that we should be aware of that. We're going to go into that report after this. The Third Watch Prophecy Update is a part of the Amateur Radio Network.
My name is and today we're going to talk about the most important topic that we need to know and concentrate about is the fact that Mashiach is coming any second. So for 5,000 years we've been hearing constantly that Mashiach is coming. Since the destruction of the second temple, we've already been hearing that Mashiach has to come. And then, the biggest question that everybody's asking is, like I said before, we heard about it so many times, why does it have to come now? The reality is that we've been waiting for Mashiach not only 2,000 years from the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. From the day the world was created, we already were talking about the coming of Mashiach. Right when the world was created, open Sefer Bereshit, and it says, "Veruach Elokim merachefet al pnei hamayim." Rashi says this is talking about Rucho shel Mashiach, the spirit of Mashiach. And there's many places in the Torah that it's already hinting about the time of Mashiach. Now, a lot of people say, okay, how do we know Bemet when Mashiach is coming? Because if we would have a date, maybe it will be easier to prepare. The truth is that the sages that knew when the Geulah is coming, and the Mekubalim and the prophets and anyone who knew when the redemption is happening, they chose not to tell us when it's happening. And there's a reason for that. The first time that we see that somebody knew when the Geulah is going to come is with our father Yaakov. And when he came to rebuke the tribes, if you remember, he came to rebuke the tribes, and it says, "V'ratza legalot et haketz." He wanted to tell them the date when Mashiach is coming. And then it says, "V'miyad nistalka da'ato." And right on this moment, he forgot. Now, come on. Yaakov Avinu forgot. The greatest of the three fathers, he forgot. He's not the type of person that forgets. He just made a quick calculation. What's going to happen if I tell them when Mashiach is coming? So he came to two conclusions. The first one will be that they will fall into despair right on the spot. Can you imagine? He's telling them Mashiach is coming in 4,000 years. Right on the spot, they're going to fall into despair and say, we give up. We don't want to wait so long. And the second conclusion he came to is that he said, if I'm going to tell them the Geulah is coming in 4,000 years, you know what they're going to tell me? Okay, so let's go and party. And in 3,999 years, we'll do tshuva right when it comes. So he decided not to tell them. Not that he forgot, he just decided it's okay, I'm not going to tell them. And there are many occasions that there are sages or prophets that knew exactly when the Geulah is coming, and for the same reason they decided not to say it. And we know, the Gemara teaches us that the Geula can come in two times. The first time that it can come, Beita, in its time. There's a date decided, and this is the day it's going to come. And then there's another option, that it's going to come, what's called Ve'achishena. I'll bring it faster. Which means that if we, as the Jews, get our act together, we can bring the Geula faster. These are the two options what it can come. There's also two options that the Geula is going to come, what's called Bechesed Ve'Barachamim. It's going to come in a very merciful way. And Chas V'Shalom, it can also come, I don't want to even say how it's going to come. In the book of Daniel, it says that if the generation has the merits, im zachu, then Mashiach is going to come, what's called on Ananei Shmaya, on clouds of glory. We're going to be taken on clouds, first class, from here to Eretz Israel. The Gaon Chida says, the Ben Ish Chai says, this is kepshuto, meaning that they're really going to be crowds. But for this to happen, to go first class on the clouds, the entire generation has to have this merit. This is only im zachu. If we have enough merits, that's how the redemption is going to come. This is what it says in the book of Daniel. But in the book of Zechariah, it says, im lo zachu. If we don't have the merit, Mashiach is going to come poor, ani verochev al chamor, poor and riding on a donkey. Now, not that he's going to come on a donkey, rather ani means poor, that we're going to be poor. It's going to come what's called be'aniyut. We're going to be lacking anything, which we see that it's actually happening now, this poverty. Verochev al chamor, riding on the donkey, chamor comes from the word chomer. Not chamor as a donkey, rather we're going to be slaves to materialism, which we see that that's what's happening now. We're all slaves to this materialistic world. So these are the two options how the Geula can come. A, it can come in its time, be'ito, or it can come v'achishena, fast, and it can come good, and it can come not good. This is all depending on us. Now there are many sages, not one, not two, many sages, many prophets, many mekubalim that knew exactly when the Geula is coming. The main place where I drew most of the sources is from the Zohar, from Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, that says in many places clearly when the Geula is coming. Many prophets came after that and explains the same thing. They all decided from the same reason why not to tell us when the Geula is coming. Because if somebody would tell us 200 years ago, not 2,000 years ago, 200 years ago, that we have to wait another 200 years, how are we going to deal with it? How we as a nation would survive the Holocaust, the wars, what happened in Russia 100 years ago, how we would survive it. So, I want to do in a very short way, touch a few of the sources, how we really know that Mashiach has to come right now. Now, first of all, we know that the world was created for 7,000 years. It says in the book of Yeshaya, chapter 2, verse 11,
Here we think we found it. You arrogant, conceited know-it-alls. No one knows the day nor the hour. Well, here's a news flash for all the naysayers out there who actually believe God doesn't warn his people before he brings judgment upon a people, a city, a nation, or the world. Season of his return, when we can actually narrow it down to within a 2-day time frame. Remember that the next measurement of time beyond a day is days, plural. There are moments, seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years, decades, centuries, and millennia. Now, can we know the moment or the second or even the minute of his return for the church? No. Can we know the hour? No. Well, how about the exact day, sunset to sunset, of a 24-hour period? No. What the below model accounts for and allows for is a window of time acknowledging trumpets as a 2-day festival, which, given the model is indeed accurate, which I believe it is, would not throw off the projected day count, since the days themselves have been calculated, giving consideration to spans of time between dates where that the end date of each calculation is not inclusive in that count. Quite simply put, end date inclusiveness allows for a 24-hour margin of error, but we think we've nailed it. Of course, I say that to dispel any argument on the part of those who have committed Matthew 24:36 to memory like no other verse. Now, I should tell you the truth about those famous words of our Lord, and I do apologize for my prank. You're looking at Matthew 24, verse 36, a verse that I know most people are familiar with. I'm going to go ahead and read that verse to you here. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. Now, there's another verse I want you to look at. This is Daniel 12:4. In Daniel 12:4 we read, But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. I just knew that there had to be something beyond what we were seeing here with Matthew 24:36, because we've been given the number of days. If you've looked at my past videos, you know we developed a timeline that we call the Alpha to Omega timeline that actually charts out the number of days given us by Daniel in Revelation. And when you mount this on top of all the evidence, that the underlying evidence, the supporting evidence that points to a 2017-2024 time frame, you can understand how that we were able to do this. Now, but again, I just knew that there had to be something beyond what we were seeing here with Matthew 24:36. For me, the explanations for that verse, those words of Jesus, always seem to be missing something. And I can't tell you how awestruck I am over this. I really can't. Because I went for a walk late last night praying that God would show me something. And later I said to Sue, the Lord doesn't appear to be speaking to me. And then it was only a few hours later, after she had gone to bed, that it was almost like someone opened up my brain and inserted this thought clear out of the blue. I still can't tell you how I came up with the idea. All I know is that it came as a lightning bolt, and it led me to start asking some questions about Daniel 12:4. What does the name Daniel mean? It means God is my judge. Just what was it that was sealed regarding Daniel's prophecies? Well, we know that was the prophecies. Who was it that did the sealing? Well, according to Daniel 12:4, Daniel himself was told to do the sealing. Daniel sealed up the prophecies until the end. Were Daniel's prophecies sealed at the time Jesus spoke these words in Matthew 24:36? Now, this is where I get to the crux of the matter. Please listen. Were Daniel's prophecies sealed at the time Jesus spoke those words in Matthew 24:36? If you're honest with Scripture, you have to say yes. Daniel lived and died roughly 600 years before Jesus was born. Was Jesus' statement referring to the rapture in Matthew 24 or his second coming? If you look at the context, you have to honestly admit that the context is regarding the day of the Lord or the second coming, not the rapture. But would it make any difference anyway, since the prophecies were sealed? No, it would not. Dates for both the rapture and the second coming are projected on our timeline, and one date is dependent upon the other. It is because we have the date for the second coming that we have a date for the rapture. Now, at what time were Daniel's prophecies unsealed? Well, they were unsealed until the end. What is meant by the phrase sealed until the end? Well, the word sealed means stopped or concealed. And another question would be, when is the end? Well, the end is the last generation. The end is defined by a time in which many will go here and there to increase knowledge. Many will be purified, made spotless and refined, but the wicked will continue to be wicked, and none of the wicked will understand, but those who are wise will understand. Another question, a final question, could be, could this refer to a time period beyond the rapture, such as during the tribulation period or the millennium? I would say no, because there has already been an increase of knowledge. We are at that point today. End, the word end, implies a completion of a time period or a measurement of time. Matthew 11:25 says, I thank thee, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, that thou hast hidden these things from the wise and understanding and revealed them to babes. Yea, Father, for such was thy gracious will. Now, I went into the Hebrew. You can do this online. You don't have to be able to understand Hebrew. You don't have to be fluent in Hebrew. People get afraid of the original languages, and they shouldn't be. The original languages are very important. I've always said it's the difference between, looking at a black and white TV and a color TV. In our English, we have the words shall run to and fro. But when you look at the original word in the Hebrew, we can see what the original intent behind the words mean. The word shall run to and fro literally means to push forth, to go about, through, to and fro. It's actually a mariner's term. I'll take it from an old Navy guy. Rowing is not much fun. If you're rowing a boat, it's a lot of strenuous work. The primitive root of this word properly means to push forth. Just imagine rowing against a current. It's a mariner's term, rower. Now, here's my question. Is this not what many of us have been doing? I know that there are people out here that hear my voice, that watch my videos, that has been following our progress. I know that there are those who, even if you're not a subscriber, even if you've never listened to us before, even if you really don't know what HeavenlySign2017.com is all about, I know that there are many of you who know exactly what these words to push forth means. You can relate to that term, to push forth, to row. So what I'm suggesting is, as you look at this chart, is that if we look at this on a timeline, what you see in gray is the prophecies of Daniel sealed until the time of the end. On the left, you have the actual prophecies being given to Daniel, as indicated